Hey guys, so we're gonna jump in and look at some real life websites in Chicago, and we're basically gonna dive in, see what's already ranking for our main keywords, and basically just take a look at what they're doing and kind of identify their strategy. This is a huge time saver, but you shouldn't do this first because a lot of people will get lazy and they'll just count on this. Whereas if you really go through all the steps as they're outlined in this course, you're going to have the best idea about exactly how to hit all the different marks for the keywords that matter for your business. Now, in this type of this strategy, we generally will find a lot of the higher level keywords. So the keywords that are actually getting like real search volume or the ones that are very profitable to be positioned well in and have that exposure. Just note before we do get into this, I do have two screens open right now. My recording device is only recording one screen, but I am going to be just typing some data into a spreadsheet that you can't actually see, just so that I can use it later on in a different example. So to get started, you just want to type in your main keyword, right? So we've been using Chicago, so let's do Chicago home inspectors. It's a pretty common term. And up here, you'll see that there's this little thing that you don't have on your browser most likely that's telling me the volume. That's the amount of people that are searching for this specific term each month. That's the keyword tool, the Keywords Everywhere tool that I recommended you install. Highly recommend you do definitely install that. It's gonna you're basically gonna have like opportunities pop out at you when you're just kind of working on Google, right? So let's just jump right into it. So what we want to do is we want to find some people that are ranked well in Google, right? So people who are in the mapped positions for competitive cities such as Chicago, that's a good sign that they're probably SEO optimized, which means that they probably have already done all the work that we want to do. Another good example is if you click more places, and this isn't always true, but it can be an indicator sometimes, is if you can find websites that maybe aren't ranking well, like let's take this one for example. It's not actually in the maps listings for the specific one I typed in, but it has 209 reviews, which is nothing to laugh at, right? They've obviously put a lot of effort into their online presence, and chances are they are SEO optimized, which means we can at least take a look at them and see. So we've grabbed that one website. Let's also grab this one. It's just another really high rated one, and they're also in the map section, so they're doing something right. And the reviews is just a really good indicator that they take their online presence very serious. Generally, people who pay that much attention to their reviews are generally doing SEO behind the scenes as well. Now, if we scroll down into the organic, we can just disregard Yelp. And there we go. We have first choice inspectors. Okay, so they're actually up here. So they would be a really good one to look at because they're the first inspector company on here on the organic aside from Yelp, and they're number 2 here for a keyword that's getting 320 searches a month. So that's nothing to sneeze at. That's pretty solid. Angie's List. Actually, we got three domains here. So let's just jump in and start looking at kind of what they are. So essentially what we're doing in this exercise is we're basically just looking for all the different terms, all the different wording, and You can also pay attention to the structure because it'll generally give you a good idea how you're going to want to structure your website when it comes to doing the SEO. But that is a different lesson. We're just talking about keywords in this lesson right now. So if we start coming through here, we can see this is a page. So they have a whole page about home inspections. So I'm going to go ahead and type that into my spreadsheet. Granted, like that is just painfully obvious. Obviously, they're going to have that. Now they have a page about drone inspection, so that one's interesting. What I've seen is drone inspections are, a lot of the people who offer drone inspections have old websites, so they don't necessarily have their website updated because it is such a new technology. So if you can go ahead and optimize for that, you can kind of stay ahead of the curve if you do actually offer that. Infrared thermal imaging, it's good. Mold, radon, so those are all really good ones. So put mold inspection, radon inspection. So we're seeing some pretty good ideas here, and it looks like those are their main keywords. So just from the reason I'm saying that is because it has a pretty good emphasis up here, and then there also, like as we scroll down, the first little thing that like after this slider box here, we're seeing all those same topics again, right? So or at least these three are, and that's giving us an indication that they're taking that stuff quite serious, right? So if we scroll down through here now, so make sure your dream home isn't hiding a nightmare. Home and mold remediation. So they're dropping in, oh, that looks terrible. They're dropping in their, kind of like their locations, right? So what I would do is I would highlight this actually because I'm not familiar with the Chicago area, right? And then I just type that in and I'd figure out, like, is that a suburb? Is that a city? Do I need to be aware of this place? So it's getting, okay, so it's a city. So let's see how far they are. If so they're actually quite a distance away. They're 37 minutes away from the downtown core here. So that's definitely its own city. That's not a suburb. So if I were personally going after Chicago, I wouldn't really even take note of that. But if that is, oops, wrong website. If that area is something that you wanted to target, you could definitely take note of that. So I would definitely be taking note of Chicago. And I'll show you on my spreadsheet here. I've kind of like split these out, right? So like these are like service related keywords. And then we'll put and you'll kind of have like you'll have your own spreadsheet kind of being formed up to this point if you've already gone through all the other steps. And we're gonna actually like completely organize all that data later on. So don't worry if it looks messy and overwhelming. We will rectify that later. It's really just a process, and it's a little bit of a messy process in the beginning. So then we'll do location keywords under here. So basically what that means is these are going to be things like Chicago, Illinois, IL, the Windy City. These are like things that like you may not even see that on the website, but I know just that is just a slang term for the city, right? You're going to want to put things like suburbs here, things like if there's counties, if that's relevant, if there's any, I know this is a big thing in Australia, and it's a way that we get some pretty good traffic but it's not as big in Canada, and I've never actually seen it in the States, but things like government areas, so it's like you'll see it on a map, but nobody will actually like refer to it. Sometimes like the odd person will actually type that into Google. So if you can find like uncommon but still used terms that refer to areas, that's a great way to capture more traffic. But let's stay on top of this, and let's continue kind of looking at this guy's website, or this woman's website, whoever it is. So their website, their home page here. So they're talking the Business Bureau accreditation. That's a really good one. If somebody types in like BBB accredited home inspector, for example, and you are one, obviously don't use that if you're not. That could be a potential keyword. So I'll plug that into the spreadsheet here. Spreadsheet that I've totally lost. Bear with me, guys. I already found it. There we go. I had too many spreadsheets open. So I'm going to just go ahead and put into a new column. I'll just put association. So we'll put like BBB, Better Business Bureau. We scroll down here, and we always want to use the different variations, right? Somebody may type that whole, like all three words out, or they may just put like BBB home inspector or BBB accredited home inspector into Google. So you want to include both into your website so that Google will really pick that up. Now, right under that, there's an InterNACHI logo. So that's another one, right? So InterNACHI, putting NACHI, like spelling it out, like the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors. I'm not going to type all that in right now, but you want to make sure you get like the abbreviations, make sure you get the long form, and just include that in on the page somewhere. Like these guys didn't, but if we were to do InterNACHI verified vendor or home inspector Chicago, let's see what we get here. So we're seeing InterNACHI, we're seeing NACHI, NACHI Chicago. And then down here, this is the first one that's, oh, actually, yeah. So this is the first one that's like an actual business. All the other ones are pretty much InterNACHI websites, which is fair because it is their brand, right? But yeah, so like these guys, if somebody ever typed that in, and they would get this website, which is actually one of the old InterNACHI generated websites, which is kind of funny that it's ranking for that. Yeah, so like you can see, there's zero competition for that keyword. Like this is a pretty out there website. It's like there's nothing bad about it, but it looks a little dated. I don't necessarily know if these guys have ever invested in professional SEO. Maybe they have, but just from kind of looking at some aspects of the website, my thought would be that it probably doesn't. So if you come along with your super high-tech techniques, you can outrank people like that. So if we hop back to the website, that was pretty much it. Another thing you want to be doing, and I'm not going to do it just because, maybe I'll do a couple pages, just because it will take a really long time, is you want to go inside of these pages as well, right? So Inspect small spaces with drone inspections. So that's a potential keyword, high pitch roof inspection, right? So that may not be like you may not optimize an entire page around high pitch roof inspection, but you know to include high pitch roof content on your pages that would pertain to or relate to rather roofing inspections, or in this case drone inspections. That's actually a nice fit as well. So if we're going to continue on, let's just look at one more real quick, and then we'll go on to the next one. Okay, so property inspection. This is a really great one. These are keywords that matter, right? Like there's home inspection, there's property inspection, there's building inspection, there's residential inspection, there's commercial. It's kind of straying a little bit from the focus of this, but a lot of home inspectors also offer commercial inspections, right? So we always want to be tuned into all these different variations, right? Like I don't know if you were paying attention to what I typed into Google there when I was looking for an InterNACHI certified inspector, but I typed in verified, right? So like that's something that somebody who's looking for your services can do too. They might kind of type in kind of an oddball, similar term for something that means a similar thing, but isn't what you would generally say in the industry, right? Now, these types of terms are good to keep note of. These wouldn't necessarily be like keywords that you're optimizing for, but these are going to support, like if you offer infrared thermal imaging, this is something called an LSI keyword. It's a latent semantic indexing index keyword, and basically what that means is that Google's going to recognize this stuff as related to this topic. So it knows that like if you're going to be using the infrared thermal imaging, like it's to identify like certain issues like moisture getting in or leaks within the pipes and stuff like that, or like any like overheating and anything like that, right? So it already knows, like Google's smart. It already knows to kind of put all that stuff together, right? Now, if we continue going down, this is a good idea. I'd personally include this, like having just the word benefits there. Probably not a bad idea if somebody types in like, what are the benefits of a thermal image inspection, or should I get a thermal image inspection, things like that. Not a huge deal if you do it or don't. Yeah, so these guys actually aren't, like in terms of just their on-page SEO, like they've done a great job with their SEO overall, but their on-page SEO actually lacks in a few places, and yet they're still ranking high. Granted, that may be because they're doing like a really intense off-page SEO campaign, but if you really dig in and get these keywords, like we've been going through the course here, and you really just dial those in, then you're going to be the one who's in this position, not this guy, right? Now, this is dragging on a little bit. I wanted us to be a 10-minute video, and I have a feeling we're probably already beyond that, or at least close to it. So I'm going to be super quick here, but so you want to be looking for more keywords, right? So like these guys just hit an absolute gold mine here, right? So multi-unit inspections, condo inspections, commercial property inspections, new home inspections, structure inspections, plumbing, electrical, foundation, roofs, heating and air conditioning, right? Like those may not all apply to you. Like obviously only pick the ones that really apply to you. Mold and radon, so we're seeing that again. So this is good. I actually really like this website. It's just done really clean. So we're seeing some InterNACHI logos again down here. I don't know if they've actually included those keywords, but just having that symbol on there it just looks great. Okay, so they're talking about buying. that's a keyword. I'm going to go ahead and just toss that into that. That may not be a keyword in itself, right? But it's going to be a topic, right? So like a home seller, a home buyer, commercial. This is really smart, including the word best. Like this page we're looking at, this is optimized for like Chicago home inspection and its inspector and those types of keywords. And by tossing like the word best like strategically throughout your content, if somebody types in best Chicago home inspector, like your chances of showing up are much higher. So let's just type that in. So what is their it's homeinspectionstar.com. So if we scroll down here, so they're first in the maps listing for best Chicago home inspector, and number one, the first business, that's number one. So they're not number one because Yelp is, but they're the first business for that keyword. And granted, that is zero search volume, but this is stuff that people do type in, and this is a red hot buyer intent keyword, right? If somebody's looking for the best Chicago home inspector, or if they're typing that into Google, like there's a really, really good chance that they're looking for a home inspector right now, right? So you want to be there for them to click on you and call you. Now let's go back to the website. I know I'm droning on here. Let's go through. Yeah, they've dropped residential a little bit. That's a good keyword to have. Commercial, it's a good one. Property. So I don't know if you've been paying attention. Like I just naturally look for this stuff because I've been doing it for a while now. But they're interchanging strategically, like different words basically, right? So you'll see like building up here. They use property there. I don't know if they used any other ones, but just interchanging words like that, which mean the same thing, but one person may type it in property, another person may type it in building, another person may type it in residential, right? So you don't want to limit yourself from accessing all those search engine opportunities, right? Now we got more keywords here. Whenever websites make lists like this, it's always just awesome because it's just really, really just like a dead giveaway. These are generally high value keywords to be present for, right? See, these guys, they've done it well. They put IL licensed. So it's like if somebody's typing in IL licensed, can spell that very well. So they're not actually showing up at all for that term. So let's make that so if we switch it up and make it a little bit more natural, they are showing up on that one, but again, that's not even that natural with the IL before Chicago. Okay, so Chicago IL home inspector licensed, right? That is something that somebody could potentially type in. They are in the map section here, and it's looking like Google's pretty much just giving, for the most part, schools these rankings. So like you wouldn't want to be competing for this. You wouldn't be trying to rank for this keyword, right? Like Nachi, school, licensing, state of Illinois, So like you can't compete with these things. They're just not. Uh, they've determined that that keyword isn't for somebody who is looking for it, and it may be in your place, right? So check in your location, and if we put like let's say if we put home inspector, sorry, excuse me, licensed home inspector Chicago IL, right? Let's see if that changes anything. It's the exact same words. And so there they are. So that's kind of, that's let a few guys in now. We've just basically changed the wording. So there's 1, 2, 3 companies, including the guys that we were looking at. The home inspection star guys are right there. And then of course there are some, like these are both schools, and there's a bunch of schools up there too, and then a bit of Yelp action. So I hope I'm making the point here why we look at our competitors that are already doing well, right? There's a lot of lessons we can learn that we can then apply, right? Now, if you're bored out of your skull, you can go like that. Like we pretty much covered what we want to cover. You're essentially just looking for things that maybe we didn't catch on the other steps leading up to this one, or you want to kind of see how did they position certain keywords that you may have talked about, right? Like I guess Chicago doesn't need to worry about hurricanes, but like let's say we were in Florida, right? And we wanted to get an idea how are people optimizing their websites for hurricane damage, right? Because that's a valid keyword. And I've done this research before, so I know they'll have a page about it, and then they'll also generally optimize for like keywords like damaged house from like hurricane, or damaged roof, missing shingles, like things like that, right? Where people are basically trying to get an assessment and trying to figure things out after these crisis situations. Now, if we go down a little bit more, so like insured and bonded, those are good. I know a lot of people, they don't really like to talk about their insurance because they think they set them up for being sued. I personally don't think that'll generally happen, but obviously that's up to each individual. But there are some people who want that insurance, right? That's why InterNACHI specifically, like they take it so very seriously with their members and making sure that they are set up with their buyback guarantee. It's essentially a type of insurance, right? And loosely using the term. So, oh, this is a good one. So, fast reports, right? This is a term I actually see pop up in Search Console, which is something you should definitely be checking on, but we're not going to be talking about in depth in this video. Some people will type in like fastest home inspector and then the city, right? And it's because maybe they have a deal that's pending and it's being hinged on this home inspection happening like lickety split, right? Those are really good keywords because if something needs to happen that quick, you can bet that there's a real estate agent not that far away that you can chat up and get as a new contact for your business, which, let's be real, like that's your main source of leads. It's not SEO. It's not AdWords, it's real estate agents. Like those are the guys that and the girls that are that can really change the game for you. All right, so I feel like I'm kind of beating a dead horse now, but yeah, like we can see, like they're going into they got information on roofing inspections, attic and crawl space inspections, electrical, plumbing inspections. Like it's just really well structured. It looks nice, and yeah. Yeah, so like overall, like this website's done a great job. It's really not surprising that it's ranking so well. Could you do better? Yeah, you could. But these guys have put in a ton of work and it shows, right? They're getting the results for it. Now, I'm not even going to touch these guys because I feel like I've really, I feel like I've really driven this point home. But like just looking at it real quick, like home inspection services, you just got all kinds of keywords here, right? Like asbestos, like we didn't see that one. Foundation inspections, we didn't see that one. Structural, foreclosures, that was one we didn't see. I don't think we saw new home inspections. I think we just saw home inspections on the other site. So lead, we didn't see anything about lead. We didn't see mildew. That's a great term to include in with mold. So just looking at like a third website, all of a sudden we're seeing new opportunities, right? So you always want to keep an eye out. And if I were doing this for one of my clients, I wouldn't just do a couple of them and I wouldn't do it this quick, right? I know I am rambling on at this point, but like I can't stress how important this is. This is like this is what's going to make you stand out, right? It means that you're not starting from zero, and you like they basically give you the roadmap for SEO, and then you just need to do the one better, right? And then do your off-page SEO, and you're laughing. So we're gonna call it there. I hope this was helpful, and we're not done yet. We got some work to do. Keyword research isn't something that we just whip up in a couple of minutes. It's a bit of an art form, and it is the most important aspect of your SEO campaign or your SEO efforts. But we'll chat soon.